I'll never forget the moment she stood in that courtroom, chin lifted like she owned the air we breathed, demanding that her 6 children, 6 strangers who walked into our lives only because our son believed love was a charity, should inherit a piece of what we spent a lifetime building. Her voice was steady, mine was silent. But my silence was never weakness, it was calculation. It began with her smile, a smile stretched too wide, too rehearsed, as she told the judge we were being unfair by refusing to treat her children like our own grandchildren. Unfair. I almost laughed, not because she was wrong, but because she thought this performance would work. She didn't know she was walking into a war I'd already prepared for. When my son introduced us to her, the second wife with a tragic past and 3 ex-husbands, we greeted her with grace. Because that's what families do, they hope. And hope is the first lie we tell ourselves. She played the role perfectly, soft-spoken, respectful, a woman who claimed she wanted a fresh start. Her 6 children lined up in front of us, awkward, unsure, rehearsed. I tried harder than I should have. Birthdays, dinners, small kindnesses, every gesture misread, every boundary tested. But I convinced myself that patience would fix things. I didn't know then that she wasn't looking for family, she was looking for opportunity. The betrayal didn't arrive with a shout, it came as whispers, little comments she made when she thought I wasn't listening. Disapproval masked as jokes, suggestions masked as concerns. Then the request, small, seemingly innocent, we should put everything in writing to avoid misunderstandings later. That was my first warning. The second came when her eldest daughter, 17, sharp eyes, sharper tongue, slipped and called our home future property. Future property, as if we were already gone. Then came the truth. A friend from the legal office sent me the document, a drafted petition, her signature, her demands. She wasn't asking, she was planning. I didn't confront her. Confrontation satisfies the heart but ruins the plan. So I watched, and I learned. I learned how she coached her children to call us grandparents only when guests were present. How she manipulated my son, gentle, loyal, easily guilted, into thinking we disliked her. How she was already calculating her share of the inheritance. By the time she filed the case, asking the court to legally bind us into leaving a portion of our estate to her 6 children, I was no longer shocked, just ready. My revenge wasn't loud, it was precise. First, I gathered every message she had sent, every threat, every insult, every attempt to pressure us financially. I documented every instance of manipulation. I collected statements from witnesses, neighbors, relatives, even her previous husband who was more than willing to speak. Second, I sat with my lawyer. We rewrote the narrative, not fiction, truth, sharpened into a blade. Third, I remained silent in every hearing. Let her talk. Let her lie. Let her show the court the very greed she'd hidden under practiced politeness. Then came the psychological evaluation she demanded for us, thinking it would prove we were biased. It backfired. Experts uncovered emotional distress, coercion, and prolonged manipulation toward us. Piece by piece, her mask cracked. When the judge read the final ruling, she stood confident, expecting victory, expecting money, expecting a legal stamp approving her entitlement. But then the judge's tone changed. Her children had no legal standing. Her claim was baseless, manipulative, and malicious. And the court had decided she owed us compensation for psychological harm, penalties for filing a frivolous case, legal fees, a public reprimand. I watched her face drain of color, drop by drop, realization sinking in like slow poison. She didn't look at me, but I felt her defeat in the silence between us. My son's expression, pain, confusion, disillusionment, was the hardest to witness. But truth has consequences, even when it hurts. 2 hours after the verdict, she appeared at our door. No arrogance, no entitlement, just desperation, disguised as humility. There were misunderstandings. Let's forget everything, start fresh. Fresh. As if she hadn't dragged us through months of legal warfare. As if the scar she carved could be erased with a trembling apology. I looked at her the way surgeons look at tumors, something dangerous that had been removed. I let go, I said quietly, but not because you asked, because I already won. I closed the door, not with anger, with peace. Because victory isn't the moment they fall, it's the moment you no longer need them to.